Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's talk about the Strand Titans. I mean, they are crazy right now. Busted damage for Crota, busted damage for Ute, busted damage for every single content. So you want to make anything really easy? Grandmasters, Master, Lost Sectors, whatever, and Titans can do it. So the bread and butter of the build is going to be your melee. So Frenzy Blades, you want your melee up all the time. You don't need to stack a whole bunch of strength to make it happen either. Your aspect into the fray will do most of the work for you, as when you have woven mail, which is getting from the tangles, which you'll have all over the place. Especially you benefit from your artifact, which we'll get into later. You'll be able to have your melee up all the time, so you won't need to stack crazy into anything else besides keep that high resilience and keep that high discipline going on. But the bread and butter with all of this is Frenzy Blades right into your Banner of War. So you're going to have your melees up all the time. With those melee kills, you're going to get Banner of War. It's going to give you that pulsing healing, like a Well of Radiance, which is crazy. Increases your melee and your sword damage. A lot of times you won't use it with sword, you'll just use your melee. Maybe with a nice combo of a shotgun with 1-2 punch. This gives you that nice boost of damage. With that 1-2 punch, or a nice shotgun shot, and then boom, punch him with a power melee, you could take out any champion in a Grandmaster level. Also with this Banner of War, you'll get increased movement speed, and they'll stack up 4 times, so more healing, more damage, more fun stuff. So Banner of War helps you and your team. Pairing that with your grapple. Grapple is going to be insane to get you up close and personal for the targets for big damage for your melees. If you need to switch to Chakra Grenade, you can still do that. Chakra Grenade will allow you to spin targets, allow you to take care of barrier and unstoppables. Mainly unstoppables, but barriers, if you time it very well, you can do it right for their barrier, and then you can have that time in the air to do that one-shot combo with some melee. For your barricade, you can run either option, depending on the situation you need. For your movement ability, again, you can run anything you like. Most people run a lot of high lift or strafe lift, just depending on the situation you're in. You can always swap that around. Most of the time, grapple will take care of most of the movement stuff for you. Now, your super is insane. You want this thing up all the time. So if you can get anything to throw into that intellect or get anything to get that super up again, which we'll go into more detail in the mods, definitely get Blade Fury. This thing takes out any champion except for overloads. Just a quick thing there. Overloads are the only thing that can stop that super. But you can suspend targets for unlimited. You can do massive amounts of damage. If you want to just absolutely have 6 Strand Titans go crazy on Crota or you can. You know, you don't even need a sword, nothing. Just stack up that Banner of War and just go crazy. Now for your fragments. We have Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates your grenade energy. You'll be doing massive damage. Don't have to worry about your grenade energy. I would recommend, again, high discipline. So if you need your grapple up or you need your shackle up, it's ready to go. Next, we have Thread of Fury. Damaging targets with the Tangle, which will be up all the time, grants melee energy. You want that melee energy so you can cycle all your big Banner of War, keep your melees active. Thread of Warding. This will allow you to get your woven mail up all the time, which will go into the fray. That'll allow you to get that melee regen all the time. So you want 2 options, whether it's from destroying a Tangle or picking up an Orb of Power, both those work. Next, Thread of Propagation. Your powered melee kills, which will be a lot of your kills, will give you those unraveling rounds, which gives you the anti-barrier. It'll work for any strand weapon that is not intrinsic with another trait. For example, if your machine gun this season is using anti-overload per the artifact, if you want anti-barrier, you need to take that overload off your artifact or it will not give you anti-barrier. So make sure, decide on what you want that weapon to do per your artifact, so work that out together. For your stat priorities, high resilience, 100 resilience at all times. You want to make sure you don't die in combat. Next priority, I would throw into discipline. High discipline gives you that grenade up time, gives you that grapple up time. You can focus your grapple on a tangle, so it'll reset your grapple point. So that's very nice if you're using the navigator, for example, where you can reset unlimited grapples. But if you ever need an emergency situation or you mess up your grapple, you can always get that back fast. It's the only thing that's really going to matter as you're into the fray again, will take care of most of your melee energy. You could throw the rest into intellect is my recommendation. If you're having issues with your melee uptime for some reason, you can get that strength. But I would really say get that intellect as high as you can for your third option, right? If you can't get it high, that's totally okay, because you want your super up as much as you can get it. So for your mods, you have a bunch of options, so let's get right into it. For your helmet, I highly recommend 2 hands-on, as you want that super energy from any melee kill, whether it's powered or normal melee kills. You want that up at all time. You won't have an issue with ammo economy, as you'll have that easily taken care of by your artifact, and you won't be using a lot of your weapons as it is, as you'll be using your melees for most of your work. Next, I'd throw on a siphon. You can either use a solar strand or void strand siphon, dual siphon, or you can just use an individual siphon depending on what your primary ad clear is besides your melee. So if you need to use a wish hinder, change it to a kinetic siphon. Definitely recommend that being switched around, but 2 hands on, 1 siphon, you'll be a good spot. For your gauntlets, which this will be your Sithoceps, your exotic armor piece, which will increase your melee lunge range, increase your melee and super damage while you're surrounded. So think of it as the surrounded perk. It'll allow you to do a lot of damage when you're in the thick of battle. So you have a ton of healing from your banner. You're doing a massive amount of damage with that Sithoceps. Definitely helps out this season. As they kind of nerfed suspending to the floor, it's definitely just better to just go in for pure damage with banner. For your gauntlet slot mods, I would recommend Happy-Handed. As for those power melee kills, you get those orbs of power. It'll cycle into your other abilities and your super uptime. Next, I go Impact Induction. Causing damage to your melees will then give you your grenade back faster. Always nice. Focusing Strike will do the same thing, but grant you class ability energy. So you want to make sure you have your other abilities up as you need them. For your chest slot, your mods, I'd recommend you put them to resist mods and have them go against the content you're going against. So if you have a huge solar threat, put 2 solar resist on. If you're having 2 void threat, put 2 void resist mods on. Change those so you can have that survivability as you're in the middle of combat and you don't want to be taking a lot of damage. For your boots, I'd recommend 1 recuperation, that way you can stay alive with those orb pickups, and then 2 weapon surges. This can change depending on the situation you're in. So if you're using solar weapons, switch to solar. If you're using strand weapons, switch to strand. Definitely match those surges to what's going to be doing the most amount of damage when you need it. So if you're doing boss damage with a sword on Crota, then make sure you have that sword surge matches your sword, whatever sword that is. For your mark slot, I'd recommend 1 Reaper as you get a free orb of power whenever you use your class ability, which is just always nice. Bomber, which will give you that grenade energy when you use your class ability. If you wanted, you can also switch this for outreach if you're having issues with your melee uptime. Then again, you want your grapple up as much as you can to get you into that combat. Next, you can run powerful attractions that gather all the orbs for you with your class ability, or optionally you can run Proximity Ward, which will allow you to get that overshield when you perform those finishers, which will help you keep your Banner of War active. Now for your artifact. Strand is very strong with your artifact this season, so I'd highly recommend using it. So to start with, we'll just do a few weapon perks here so we can get on to the next section. Any of these can be used depending on the situation you're in. For your combos, switch this out depending on what weapon you're using and your other slots. So if you're using a solar weapon, then put the solar one on, the way you can put it on your helmet. Don't forget to switch this. If you ever switch weapons, go back into your helm, change that mod slot. You can, however, run scavenger mods if you like. I would recommend origin perks, as a lot of the Cursed Thrall origin traits are super good this season. So definitely recommend having that in both of your slots up here. So we'll just pick either one of these options. So 2 origin perks here, and then Thanatonic Tangles. Strand weapon final blows, which hopefully you're using a strand weapon somewhere in your kit. We have the increased chance to have that tangle. More tangles means more War of a Mail, means more melee, so you're in a good spot. Next, Elemental Fury, with that increased damage to champions. Communal pickups, that way people steal your tangles, you'll get that cooldown back. Won't matter at all. Refreshing pickups, picking up a tangle or orb will grant you that energy to your least powered ability. More ability uptime, can't complain about that. The only thing I will say is if you're alone, you're doing a lost sector or solo content, take off communal pickup. Put on something else such as semi-auto striker or overload machine gun depending on the content you in. Again, unraveling rounds for anti-barrier will not work if you have overload machine guns on. So make sure you turn that off if you want your anti-barrier, or if you want it on for overload, definitely leave it on. Next, Monochromatic Maestro is insane for Strand. Definitely recommend having this on, as I would recommend Elemental Embrace, but it does not work for Strand. Your combatants don't have, Strand damage, so you can't even use Elemental Embrace effectively. I would also recommend Elemental Munitions, as this will take care of all of your ammo economy so easily. You won't even need to run a finder, because you have so many tangos going out, you're gonna have ammo everywhere. So it seems like when you're playing Strand, you're gonna be like, there's ammo everywhere, and you play other subclasses, it won't be as much, right? Your tangos are gonna be up all the time, you'll have no issues with the ammo, definitely recommend this. If you are on a boss and you're somehow having ammo issues, I would recommend someone on your team switch to a different type of ammo finder for you, whether it's a Cenotaph mask or whatnot, the anvil head for warlocks. So quickly go over some weapon recommendations. Let's start with the Navigator. The Catalyst will allow you to creep a grapple point, so if you grapple to that location, it'll keep your grapple going. You'll be able to unlimited grapple. As long as that grapple point is there, you can just punch right into a boss or targets or whatnot. So definitely recommend that for high damage output. Next, I'd recommend any shotgun, preferably with 1-2 punch. as this will allow you to get that increased melee damage, whether it's a normal melee or a powered melee. Next, I'd recommend Quicksilver Storm. Quicksilver Storm is a fantastic weapon, as it this season allows you to do the anti-barrier, it creates tangles, does massive damage. If you wanted, you can also optionally run the Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo will give you that melee energy. If you're having issues keeping your melee energy active, that weapon will be insane for melee uptime. You could punch all day with that thing. Definitely recommend that for that melee energy. Next, I'd like to recommend Tractor Cannon. Tractor Cannon is going to be insane for Strand Titans. You could do about 3 million DPS being the Tractor Cannon target for Crota. You can run a fusion rifle in your kinetic slot, you can run a fusion rifle in your energy slot, and then you can run your Tractor Cannon. So you can take care of Oversoul, do massive amount of damage to your super. So definitely recommend, if you can do Tractor, try to do it on a Strand Titan because they can do tons of damage. Hope this video was a helpful insight into Strand Titan experience. Let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. If you enjoy these build videos, make sure to check out my other videos on my channel, as my goal is to keep videos direct, to the point, and to be well informed. Like and subscribe really helps my channel grow, so make sure to click that button when you get a chance. And remember, Guardians, the universe is vast, your power is limitless, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next adventure.